Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday, episode 10. Fellas, we get to begin unveiling the top 50 board. Y'all know the drill. Hit the lights, get these shares up. Let's go.
BJ Nix, are you here?
Present.
Present. Spoonie, Timothy Spoonie.
Present, sir.
Margaret and Mary. Do we have a Margaret and Mary?
Yes. Cool. And the margaritas.
All right. Here, we're ready. Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Okay.
Time to line up behind your team, to support your team, have faith in that team.
It's peaks and valleys. It can't always be good. And as I always tell people, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. But when we do know about
house call, Trevon Diggs pick six. Coming, they see it, knocked away. Oh, Gregory! Hurts in trouble. 3 Cowboys wrap him up, make it 4. Micah Parsons is unblockable.
And we're live. Episode 10, Big Board season begins. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome for tuning in here on Pick Six Sports. Hey, I see it. I see you, Dom. I hope everyone's had a fantastic week here as we're wrapping up this week and beginning to unveil the big board, 50 through 26 tonight. Ever so close, Dom. We're just, you can taste it a little bit. This draft is so close to us.
Earlier this week, I was like, man, I'm done with this process. I'm ready for the draft to be here. But now it's Friday, and I got a different take. Now I'm ready to get back into some of these later day pick types. But tonight, it's all about the top 50. So these could be those potential second day guys that we're looking at, not just talking about guys at 26.
Big facts. Spoonie, how we doing up there in New York, brother?
Oh, listen, weather beautiful. Today I ran into a couple of Cowboys fans. It's the thing with Cowboys fans when we greet each other. You wearing a star, I'm wearing a star. We get close, we don't say nothing. We just take the tip of the hat, nod, and we move on. Beautiful. That's because we know already. We know what the deal is. So, beautiful day. Glad to be here.
Big facts. Professor O, wrap it up this Friday. Here we are. Not surprise visit, but now officially into the Girl Dad full momentum and here ready to rock for this top 50. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, appreciate it. Excited to be here with you guys. I don't know how long I have. I'm here until the baby wakes up, so I will rock as long as I can tonight. And Dom, I could not disagree with you anymore on this draft. I'm over it. I'm so over it. So I sent these gentlemen a tracker, the players that I've watched this year. 22 first-round grades, 10 tweener grades, 33 second-round players, 10 second, third-round players, 36 third-round players, 46 fourth-round players, and it keeps going on. I'm not watching any more film. I don't care who it is. I don't care who you ask me about. Until we draft them, I'm done. Not watching anybody else.
Fair enough. Unless somebody creeps on the old board, which can happen late in the draft. The rumblings of last year, right?
Or anything. Until we draft them, I'm not watching any more film at all.
Fair enough. Well, you know what? With that being said, everybody, I mean, we don't really have a whole lot of news per se this week. It's been a little dry on these streets, but as anticipated, right this time of the year, as anticipated, you get a little dried up here and there and whatnot. Obviously there's some things back and forth on. We saw some Zeke working out tapes, and that's kind of making the round social media. Same thing as last year, and hey, is there a chance he's coming back? Whatever. The draft will give us some keys to that. So O's on limited time till the baby wakes up. So let's dive into the board, shall we? Let's dive into it.
Let's get it.
Yeah, let's get over here to the old. Oh, where we at? You load them up. Got it. I got it right there. Boom. We're gonna start from 50 and move our way up, and there it is. 50 Cody Mock. Tackle
That's the best
guard.
picture I could find of him, by the way. There's just not a lot of, especially offensive linemen. They're either all grouped together. There's very few like cool solo shots. So I was like, I feel like that represents him with the glorious hair. So we'll go.
Well,
with
I mean, I did see a particular picture of him missing some teeth. I'm like, was he a hockey player? But you know what?
Right.
Missing teeth for offensive linemen is completely fine with me, y'all.
Right. The toothless smile. So that's the one you should have gotten. No, this is the guy that we had tagged all the way back while the college season was still playing, because we felt as if he could be a day 2 pick, and he fits a role that would go well with what Dallas is doing. Originally I thought maybe you can get him in and mold him as the future tackle for the team, or maybe slot him inside to play guard. And then you start to hear the rumblings of NFL teams wanting him to be a center because of how fluid he moves, how quick he is. You think that he's kind of maxed out that frame, being a guy that started his collegiate days at 220 pounds, being a former tight end, and then they've worked him all the way up to 306 or so. So it seems as if he's maxed it out. He's got a very unique build, but so quick, so fast, but then strong as well. So you kind of see where the center idea makes some sense, but he's a tremendous talent that has a lot of versatility. And we know what Dallas is all about, that positional flex, because it has actually come in handy for them the last couple of seasons whenever having to have a makeshift line in a sense.
Big facts. Jack Campbell coming in here, linebacker extraordinaire from Iowa at 49. Sam Laporta, my guy, tight end, right? From Iowa in the building. BJ LRJ. Wow, way to do that name. Oh, yeah, Ojolari. I read it too quickly. Edge. Now the Van Ness here at 46. Van Ness at 46. This is probably a lot on me because of where I had him at than anybody else.
Yeah, so this one's interesting because two people that had him middle of the pack-ish, and then two people didn't have him at all. So with that happening, he kind of plummeted down the board. So he's going to be an interesting one because he didn't start, but he was productive when he played. And I think there's going to be some conversation on, is he an edge or a 3-tech?
Yeah.
And you hear these comps being tossed out there, and that's a whole other tirade we'll go on another day. But the comps that people throw out for players are unfair a lot of times and set unrealistic expectations. But he's an interesting player. He's a guy that if New England took him at 14 or wherever they pick, I wouldn't be shocked. And if he fell to round 2, I wouldn't be shocked. I don't really know where he's going to go.
Yeah. Eddie asks the points. So the points here are, it's Professor O, Dom, Spoonie, me, and then our guy Mod Extraordinaire Mendoza give the list, and then O crunches the numbers where you're ranked at, and that gives you the total points and how we move forward through this thing. So yes, we all individually had our own boards that were different, as O was just talking about when it came to Van Ness. Like I don't have him on my top 50. I'm not a buyer of him personally. I know, and I think I saw somebody tell he's 15. He's been mentioned very, very much so going before the Cowboys are on the board at 26. Which is fine for me. So, but that's how the points come across there. Okay, and then over to Hidley, the linebacker, Washington State. Obviously, a guy that the Cowboys could be looking at adding somebody there. Hidden Hooker, the quarterback here, Spoonie, coming in at 44. The injury, we know Tennessee. Maybe that got on the board at 26, and the Cowboys could pull a trade. We talk about the trade back scenario.
Yes, sir. This is very possible. If a team up front, depending how the board goes with the quarterbacks, if a team like the Colts misses out, they may want to, depending if Hendon Hooker's still there at number 26, you never know, the Colts come in and want to trade up in the first round to get their quarterback.
10-4. Joe Tippmann, I like a lot from Wisconsin, center maybe slash guard there. Darnell Washington, the tight end, the behemoth Professor O of a tight end coming in here at 42.
He's an absolute beast physically. He's an interesting guy too because he was underutilized as a receiver, as a receiving option, and was mostly used as a blocker, but was used situationally. And when he did get the ball, more often than not, he was trucking people, hurdling, or doing something impressive, but there's just limited tape of that. So that kind of bodes, is it an issue where he's undeveloped as a route runner, or was it just because they have Brock Bowers and didn't need him to do that, so they let him play that role? So that's going to be what teams are going to evaluate. But, I mean, when you have a 6'7", 265-pound guy who runs a 4.6 40, teams are going to be interested. So he's also a guy that if he goes late round 1, I wouldn't be shocked, but I personally think he'll be more of a day 2 type of guy.
Right, and then 41, Takedale, wide receiver out of Houston, coming into play here at our top 50 board. Dom, here the first stretch of guys from 50 to 41. What pops out at you most in this little section?
Yeah, I'm actually excited that our group, as we did our consensus board here, gave some love to Jack Campbell. Because in most lists, you might find him as linebacker 3, maybe even 4, behind Henley and Trenton Simpson, as well as Drew Sanders. So you might think, well, being maybe the 3rd or 4th linebacker in a class that doesn't have a strong group at that position, you may think, oh, he's going to be well outside of the top 50. But for us to be able to spotlight him here, the thing that I like about him, again, between the tackles, he has the prerequisite speed that you need to be able to make tackles in the box. Now, he does a great job in turning, flipping hips. He's fluid enough to get into zones. He's one of the better cover linebackers in this class as far as the guys up here in the top. I think he's shown more than a Drew Sanders, who's probably linebacker number 1 on our consensus board. I haven't really checked our board yet because I wanted to be surprised tonight to see where these guys fell. But yeah, I'm glad that we gave him some shine, and he's been one of those guys where I've been hoping that he would be there at 58 for us, because we know the history, the recent history, especially of Dallas and those second-round picks, how they often use it on guys with either character issues, some type of red flag, maybe it's health concerns, guys that they would consider as a high ceiling. And for me, it's like, let's flip that. Let's be a little bit more safe. Let's get a sure guy. Let's get somebody that shows a lot of great intellect, where they know the game, but they're already solid and they've produced on the collegiate level. And Jack Campbell fits the mold that I'm looking for in a good, safe, solid pick, and it represents the position of need.
10-4. Here from 50 to 41, anything that pops out to you?
Yeah, I'm a lot higher on Hendon Hooker than you guys, but I understand it. He's a guy that's going to be a 25-year-old rookie. He's coming off of an ACL tear. Is he even going to play this year? I don't know. I personally have him as QB3 in this class, but I understand with the health and aging consideration that might bump him down the board for people. I do think it's interesting that we have some linebackers grouped together right there too, at 49 and 45. So it's an interesting list. And, I'm looking at 10 guys here. We pick at 26 and 58. If these guys fall to 58, great. And there's even some of these guys maybe at 26 you might look at.
Right. And before we go to the next round here, Spoony, what do you like in this list?
I like the fact, Darnell Washington, he's moving up. I even believe he's gonna be a first round during draft day. That's one of my hot takes.
I mean, it's possible for him, depending on how how they get it and how they look at it. So it will be interesting. Let's go ahead and flip on over to 40 through 31. And now we're kind of going up the board here. We got DeJuan Jones making the appearance here at 40, Trenton Simpson at 39, FAU edge 38. Will Levis at 37. We'll maybe talk a little about Levis here. My guy Drew Sanders coming in at 36. Will McDonald, kind of tied to the Cowboys a little bit with the pro day, and obviously Dan Quinn working him out himself personally. Osiris Torrance coming in 34. Manuel Forbes at 33. Cam Smith 32. And Josh Downs at 31. So I'll go reverse order this time. Spoonie, out the gate here, these 10, or what are you looking at here?
Well, I'm looking at. I'm actually. I'm looking at Josh Downs right now. What's the issue with him? He's not being asked to as far as being a visit for the 32 team. I just want to know what's going on. What is it that I understand he's a slot receiver? They don't see him playing more on the outside, but this kid could play. This kid really could play, and we're pretty much in a very heavy passing league. He definitely should be in consideration of being drafted at least early second round.
10-4, Professor O. This group here from 40 to 31.
Yeah, I think this is another interesting group because, like last time, we're looking at linebackers. This time, we also have two linebackers in this pairing. But Will McDonald's a guy that I wouldn't be shocked at all to see go in round one. I think Will Levis is probably going to go round one, even though I don't think he's a round one quarterback. But we know how quarterbacks, impact the depth chart or the draft boards.
Positional value.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting. Number 32 and 33, they're touching. Cornerback. I'm not going to spoil it because you guys haven't seen the rest of the list, but I know where they fall in our cornerback charts. So just it's very interesting that these two guys are right there neck and neck because either one of those could be a first-round pick, and I think at least one of those two is a first-round pick.
10-4, Dom. This section here, this stack of 10 guys here from 40 to 31.
Y'all know what my mistake was earlier before we put this consensus board together. Totally left off my guy that I've been touting all off season is DeJuan Jones, the guy on the picture right there. And that picture is what made me go, wait a minute, I don't remember typing DeJuan Jones down. So I got that corrected. To me, he is the number 2 right tackle in all of this class. You want him to stay at right tackle. He excelled from 2021 to 2022. 21, he looked more like Frankenstein, allowing guys to get in and under him, to get around him. In 22, I don't believe he gave up a single sack. So he's using that length of his and the overall power in his hands to be able to keep defenders at bay. I keep saying that he reminds me of the old school cat who put on the high knee socks, brings his own basketball to the court while all the young guns are playing, and he just backs you down when he gets in the game and rains sky hooks. He's the bouncer in the club. So he was one of the guys that we looked at thinking after Jerry Jones made his comments about Terrence Steele, and they're talking about potentially moving him inside. It's like, well, what is the plan? He's on his tender right now. Are they going to sign him long term? So a guy like DeJuan Jones has even more value for a team like Dallas if the plan isn't to keep Steele here for the long term. So guys like him and Darnell Wright, they get pushed up to me, but he's still an overall good talent. So for him to crack the top 40, I'm glad to see that. Personally, that might be slightly too low, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And names here, right, that we've talked about, just Cowboys Nation in general, the Will McDonald's of the world, Drew Sanders, FAU, and we're just kind of seeing, the things that we've talked about extensively over the time going through this process of, thinking about 26 and where it's at, and, how a large contingency of the nation was in the mindset of trade back. And I think this is a good, reference point here. If, the talk has been, what if you trade out of the first round, right? And you get that ultimate, maybe haul in return, or as Spoonie, you've talked about it a lot, trying to get that next year's first, right? In a trade or something. Maybe this is an idea here, something you kind of look at, see what's there, and maybe it makes you feel a little bit comfortable there if you want to, make that trade back, and you can get a Drew Sanders, or, You get a FAU, right? Or, if a DeJuan Jones happens to be there. Now, of course, offensive linemen, sometimes they go a little bit quicker. The fact he's strictly a right tackle will be interesting to see where he goes as well. I think looking at this list here, the thing that jumps out to me is, as we've kind of talked about the trade back scenario, how far would you be willing to go here and still think you can secure your guy from 26 down to, say, 34, right? And maybe an ideal group of guys that could be here.
Real quick question for you guys, because this is something that is a normal topic of conversation, especially when you pick 26-ish. It's not unrealistic that there may not be a guy that you have a first-round grade on available at 26. So looking at this list of the just missed the cutoff guys, without saying names, how many of these guys, if any, would you feel good with at pick 26?
4, I think. 3 or 4. Step, I think.
I have 4 for me.
I would say 5.
Okay.
I have 5 also. Chat, let us know what you guys think. If pick 26 is there and any of these 10 guys are drafted, how many of those would you be happy with?
All right. I don't want to say no names. I'll give the chat a chance to say there because I'm kind of going through the list. I can probably get to 5. I can get to 5, and I'll be a good exercise here. I mean, we're gonna 10 here. We're saying half of them we're kind of good with, right? I'll do yes or no. How about that? I'll go through the list and do yes or no for you guys. You want to do it that way, or I just want to talk about the 5 in general?
Yeah, let's do yes or no because I think it'll be interesting to see who says yes and who says no.
Okay,
and start at 40. Reverse.
All right, I'll start at 40.
Because we have 2 5s and 2 4s doesn't necessarily mean that they're the same group either.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, very true. All right, so DeJuan Jones, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Spoony? No. Okay.
No.
Trenton Simpson?
No.
No.
No for me as well. FAU would be a yes for me. Depending on how the board looks, it'd be a yes for me.
Yes.
No? Okay.
Nope.
Will Levis, no for me.
No.
No, I mean, Drew Sanders, do I really have to say anything? For me anyways.
Yes.
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 Everybody yes on Drew Sanders. Okay.
Yeah.
Will McDonald?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Osiris Torrance?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
It's a no. Okay. It's a no for me too as well. Forbes?
Yes.
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 I like how there's no hesitation there. I'm like,
Yeah. Smith? Cam Smith?
yes.
No.
No.
No. Oh, I think no for you there.
Cam,
Josh
I
Downs.
talk about real quick. We had 2 people that had Cam at like 23 to 26, and then 2 that he was like 48 and 49.
Yeah.
So he's polarizing in our group too.
Josh Downs?
Yes.
No.
Yes. It's a yes for me.
Yes.
No.
So Eddie O has 3.
Okay.
Eddie, let us know which 3 because
Yeah, let's see,
kind of fast. And Mendoza has a lot of yeses and nos, so I'm interested to know who he was saying that to.
You know what? I ended up saying 6 yeses. I had Josh Downs,
Okay.
Emmanuel Forbes, Osiris Torrance, Will McDonald, Drew Sanders, and
DeJuan
DeJuan.
Jones, yeah. I had Downs, Forbes, Sanders, and FAU. Those are my 4. I guess 5. Jones, I'd roll with Jones. 5. So yeah, I had 5 there.
So before we continue, I'm curious with you guys in the panel and also with the chat. And the panel hasn't seen this list all accumulated either. Is there anybody from 31 to 50 that you expected to be here that you haven't seen yet? So either we're lower on these guys or maybe you're higher on them or vice versa. But I feel like there's at least one name that I think people would be surprised is not on our top 50. And he's definitely not going to be higher than this. But Mozzie Smith is not on our top 50. He just barely missed out, like barely. And I think that will surprise people. So is there anybody aside from Mozzie that you're surprised we haven't seen yet?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead, Dom.
Unless because it's a surprise to me because I haven't seen it. Remember, I wanted to be.
Yeah, me too. I didn't look at it either. I wanted to see how it broke down for us.
I figured Keely Ringo would be in this range for us. So if he's higher, I mean, that's a good thing for him. But I would have thought he would have been in this stretch.
Spoonie?
I'm still thinking.
Yeah. There was some love, but the love that was there was still like 50 and 48. You know, it wasn't high love on Mozzie in general. I tell you, like seeing Van Ness is low, you know, because I knew I was low on him personally. Seeing Van Ness that low because you know a little bit of everybody how things kind of ranked out. A little bit of surprise, you know, a little bit of surprise to me there. Um, you know, so there's a but that would be Forbes before Torrance, so the other way. But neither here nor there. I don't know. He could show up. It does. I don't know. You have to wait and see.
See, that's a good one too, because I think when we're talking about the running backs in this class, everybody has a consensus on who running back 1 is, and almost everybody agrees on running back 2.
Right.
There's a pretty big majority on who running back 3 is, but it becomes a lot closer at that point. And this should be around the territory in the real draft that you would see guys like maybe running back 2 and 3 on the board. So it'll be interesting to see who else is up there.
10-4. All right. Well, we'll close this. We'll close this down and get to the final stretch here. 30 through 26. Dun dun dun. And here we are with Deontay Banks, Kelly Ringo, Dalton Kincaid, Michael Mayer, and Steve Avila. Now here's the stack. You know, we do this in the spaces a lot, talking about the pick at 26. We always do stacks of, hey, who are you taking? You know, if you got these stack of guys here available to you at 26, you know, who are you taking? Well, I mean, here's the stack at 26 here, Professor O. If this is the stack, right? You know, obviously we know the guys are behind us and everything, but let's say this is the stack on their board. Where are you rolling here with these guys here from 30 to 26?
This is really funny because this group of 5, I would much prefer some of the guys after this in our rankings.
Yeah.
This is why when you do these exercises, you're going to get variances. Like I'm the Georgia fan of the panel, and I had Keely Ringo slightly behind most of the rest of the panel, which I thought was very, very interesting. And looking at the guys cornerback wise in the last group, Emmanuel Forbes was there, Cam Smith was there. We've had some good cornerbacks available already. Banks is the guy I think they would. They might take Steve Avila there. I don't know. It's an interesting group. I wouldn't really love any of these 5, but there's 2 names in particular: Steve Avila, I guess Michael Mayer we should throw into that, 3 names, and Dalton Kincaid. They've been the media buzz for a while. I mean, maybe there's something to that you know the tight ends or guard might go, but it's interesting. And again, these 5 they're fairly close together point wise. I have to admit I'm surprised Ringo was ranked ahead of Banks in our consensus board, but that's why you do it as a group think to see how everyone looks at it together.
Yes, well, some of that's kind of my fault, though, I think. But neither here nor there because I kind of had a little goof and I had Banks higher, but things kind of happened. But neither here nor there. Dom, this stack here with the Cowboys coming up at 26. Very funny that the Cowboys picking at 26 and here's Avila actually throughout everyone ends up at 26.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying for almost a month and a half that Steve Avila is offensive guard 1. And we were saying it before it became popular around some circles. Now in those same circles, you're starting to see this week a resurgence of Osiris Torrance being the number 1 guard. But for us, Steve Avila was able to make the cut. And maybe we're caught up in the moment, kind of held captive by the times, and knowing that left guard is an area that we want to see fixed. So maybe we're putting a little bit too much value within wanting, but still just overall talent. I think he still is a guy that has upside, and you like where his floor is currently. Plus the positional flex again. He's a guy that in 2 years, he might be taking over for Biotish as center if he becomes a Dallas Cowboy, and then you can go out and find another guard at that time. So I like Steve Avila. I like what he brings. Seems to be also a nice character guy that you can add into the locker room. Seems like he can hit it off with the guys right away, and he's already from the area, in the area, working with a guru right now. So I like what we have in Steve Avila here.
I'll be honest. I look at the stack. Dalton just got the medical clearance. I think the Cowboys are going to take Dalton Kincaid here in this stack. I think that's where they're going.
Nix, would you mind, or Spoonie, either one?
Mhm.
These two gentlemen on their Twitter space last night. Appreciate anybody who joined, but Kyle Yeomans was on and spent probably like an hour and a half talking ball with him.
Sure.
Dalton Kincaid and Michael Mayer, based on what he said, this is not just a mock draft thing. Like, it's very much a conversation in the clubhouse. They have a lot of consideration towards tight ends, and specifically, he brought up, if I'm correct, that when those names are brought up in the building, it's a quick yes, those are good players. Like this is not just something that the media is tossing out there. They very realistically could take a tight end. Is that correct on what you guys heard too?
Yeah, and shout out to Humans for coming through and joining. And we just had a good time and shot some questions back. We're just talking some football, man, in general. And he was gracious enough to answer a lot of questions from the crowd. And yeah, the thing that we kind of covered within that, we were in there, Spoonie Edio, who's here now in the building, and what we were going through was, McCarthy was big on McBride last year, the tight end, right, out of Colorado State. Now, ultimately, they ended up with, Ferguson and Hendershot. And I think another thing that Kyle brought up as well, too, right, was they were big going into the fourth or fifth round, whatever. There's other guys like Cotton and who's the kid that
Charlie Kolar, K-Dot.
Clark, yeah. And so it was one of those situations where there was other guys that they were looking at, but they ended up, with Ferguson and Hendershot, right? And, the one thing I've said a lot about, and we've kind of talked about before, is just that with Mike McCarthy coming into being the play caller and Schottenheimer here being the offensive coordinator, and they kind of know, hey, Kellen Moore's leaving, but they know the impact or the numbers and stuff that he's put up. They're going to go get a guy, right? At the end of the day. And I think the interesting point that Kyle talks about, Professor O and Spoonie, was that what did he say? Dalton, he put this with these tight end group of this draft. What do you? He said Ferguson been like 12th on the board.
He said 11.
11. Okay,
Ferguson will be 11, and Hendershot will be like 16.
Right. So kind of the idea of where Cowboys maybe lands at inside the building of not that they don't like Ferguson or Hendershot, but as we've talked about, Dom, all of us throughout this, and it's episode 10, the tight end group is one of the better tight end groups that this draft has seen in a long time in this draft here. And it's deep and it's very, very talented. And teams are paying attention to that. But yeah, to your point, absolutely. Kyle's like, yeah, they mentioned those guys. And very quickly, the responses, what we were being told was that, oh, yeah, great player. Absolutely.
Nix, let me ask you this, too, because when we first started having these conversations about tight ends, what was it, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, whenever that was, whenever the tight end buzz, it was Dalton Kincaid was the name that kind of flew up. And you were very adamant that you're out on tight end in round one. Jake Ferguson, you like him. After hearing Kyle Yeomans and having some time to spend further time evaluating these tight ends, is there a name that now at 26, because you hated it back then, is there a name now that maybe has grown on you or you could talk yourself into that makes a little bit more sense knowing how Ferguson stacks against this current class?
Right. I mean, I still don't love it. I mean, just to be honest, because I just think, what this team needs and this is my personal view, not how and that's the one thing I always say is the master key here is what they want to accomplish with this team and how they want to build this team. So obviously we all do this draft process and what we think the team should do and stuff, but we're not in the building. So to me, I like what we have at tight end, especially with these guys going into year two. Not that you can't add a guy, but I feel like at 26, for me, maybe a little too rich. And you look at what can be available for this team. Kincaid's the guy, though. Getting clearance, and we kind of talked about this earlier this week, getting the medical clearance. And again, going back and looking at his tape, look, he's an overgrown wide receiver to a certain extent, right? We kind of understand that about him. He's not going to be this massive blocker or anything. But just if it's going to be one of these two guys that we have right here, ranked between Mayer and Kincaid, give me Kincaid. I think he gives me more of a weapon as a pass catcher, if you will, than not the Mayer's. I'm not saying Mayer's a bum by any stretch of the imagination here. He's a little bit better of a combo guy that can give you a little bit of both as an ultimate all-around tight end. But I think Kincaid can be a little bit more of a difference maker in the pass game as a pass catcher, as we've been talking about adding a weapon to this offense.
Yeah, I still don't love the idea of tight end, but I get it. Like
Right.
if there's a guy Michael Mayer would be the one that you'd have a really hard time selling me on. And I actually think he probably is the best overall tight end in the class. I just
Yeah.
don't see a big difference in his game and what Jake Ferguson can do. So if I'm going to get a tight end, if that's the direction they're going, like a Dalton Kincaid or a Darnell Washington, who's
Yeah.
completely different than what we have in the room,
Mm.
you could sell me on that. Where are you in
Yeah.
Dom Spoon? Where do you guys fall on that?
And I was going to land on that, and coming out when the talk was really big about that coming out of the combine and whatever. And that's what I tweeted. I was like, look, at that moment, I was like, if you're ultimately telling me I got to take a tight end at 26, it was Darnell Washington for me just because he brought something different to the room, as you just said, than the other two guys we have. But I think right now, after the conversation, go back and reevaluating it, getting the clearance medically, Dalton Kincaid is the guy where I'm like, okay, I'll check mark here with Dalton Kincaid, because Washington, there's still the question mark, right, of is he developmental a little bit because of where he's at, and Kincaid comes and gives you a weapon. Go ahead, Domerson.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the love for Kincaid because he represents that kind of elusive pass catcher that can give you some yak. He breaks tackles, and I'm not sure that he'll give you too much in a blocking game or a run game. But I get it. If you're thinking about pure weapons and having a mismatch, finding a best friend for Dak as a guy who can, stretch the seams, be there in intermediate areas, and then be able to take it and go. And Dak would seem to have been his best when he had solid running game helping him, so he's not doing it all on his own.
Right.
A nice solid guy like Beasley or even Witten early on, being able to help him across the middle. So it makes sense for Dalton Kincaid if people are starting to think that's the target. But for me, it's just a little too rich for me. And I am concerned about the back injury. Then with our boy Darnell Washington, I have him pretty far down my top 50 list. So I think at 26, that's, you're stretching it too far with him. He's a guy that I would consider maybe a potential slight move up in the second round, though, because of what he's able to bring and what you think he could project as a pro in the league.
So for Spoony?
Yeah. So I'm going to take this back when we first started doing the draft process, the draft show, where the question was about Dalton Schultz, and I came out and said that I think the Cowboys would want to tag him. And we down the line we heard that they did make him an offer, and I expressed that the one thing that Dak Prescott may not have if you lose Dalton Schultz is that tight end, that big target who to get the first down, the dirty work, X, Y, and Z, which we had Schultz many of times come through once he was given the opportunity. And as Kyle Yeoman, it's one thing when you just give a statement or a suggestion, it's how he expressed it. And the one thing that caught my eyes when he came out and said, because somebody's asking the space, why would tight end, we could have got Schultz. He goes, wait, upgrade over Schultz. So when I hit upgrade over Schultz, to me, that makes me feel great that Dak Prescott can have a reliable tight end, but better than what he had before. We love Hendershot, we love Ferguson. Listen, at number 26, we definitely want to hit another position, but if that's the best pass catcher between that tight end and wide receiver, I'm on board now. Mayer or Kincaid, I'm on board.
And ultimately, and something we talked about even before getting to Kyle last time in the space was that, it came out. The wide receivers done a on the board around the NFL, possibly. And maybe a lot of people are just going to be right there with just JSN. And, once you get there, what if Zay Flowers is there in it's Kincaid? Now we're getting into maybe the Cowboys look at Kincaid being a bigger difference maker as a pass catcher than Zay Flowers, and that's who they take and walk away. So those are the kind of things you got to look at and be ready for, as this thing moves along. But yeah, I enjoyed the week of 50 through 26. Next week, episode 11. We go 25-1 in our final pencil down mock draft. I cannot wait for it. So make sure y'all ready to rock next week as we'll go from 25 to number 1. But before we have to do our final mock draft, we do get to do a mock draft right now. So we're fine tuning. Go right ahead,
Sorry, I hate to interrupt, but before we fully move off of this list,
Sure.
there's a name that we don't have in our top 50 that is going to the draft and is going to be in the green room. And since I heard that announcement, I started not panicking, but like, did I just not assess this guy properly? Because it happens. Sometimes you watch film and maybe the film you have is limited, or it just wasn't a great game or great games for them. Keon White was the guy that, out of the guys that are draft invites or draft attendees this year, this surprised me the most. The rest of the guys, I'm like, I get it. I could see that guy. I could see that guy. I could see that guy. So, chat, if you guys are big Keon White fans, let me know. Panel, Keon White, like, did that surprise you guys? Because he didn't make our top 50 as a consensus. And
Yeah.
I was shocked when I saw his name on there. What do you guys think about that?
Dom's ready. Dom's ready. As soon as you said it, Dom was like, "Oh, go right ahead, Dom."
I'm actually surprised that he is so far up people's top 50s and top 100 list. I mean, you definitely can see the talent. You see the size. He's a guy that kind of played him out of position there at Georgia Tech. And the thing about him is there was one play where he was recorded at some ridiculous time as far as a mile per hour, where he's like covering running backs out of the backfield, following them all the way up the sideline on those wheel routes. Just guy with tremendous hustle, nice size. And you think, depending on the kind of front you use, you can see him being a 3-tech, 5-tech, or playing the traditional 9. So I see the versatility there, but I didn't see enough playmaking from him, the production from him, to be able to put him that far up. I learned from Bluff a while back, about 3 years ago. He's like, man, what I do and what I look for in setting these guys apart and stacking my edge guys and defensive linemen is, are you getting pressures? But also one of the things that people often overlook is the tackles for loss. Tackles for loss often translate into the NFL. And he's another one of those guys like a Mozzie Smith, where it's you're getting through, you're doing some good things, but can you finish a play? And so I want to be able to see some of these guys who are defensive linemen finish a play, which is why a Brise or Mozzie, even Keanu Benton, they're not high up there for me, where like a guy like Kalijah Cansey is, because I'm seeing more of the pressures, tackle for losses, and the sacks.
Yeah, I mean, measurables, for White, but 6'5", about 290, 280, 290, but yeah, no, for me, yeah, I don't know. I was like, that's interesting take for our interesting situation with him going there. But, you'd have to think with his representation or whatnot, he wouldn't be going if he didn't know something. So there's a major draft key alert there for sure.
I don't know.
The combination is just like, so from just the physicality standpoint, he's 6'4", 280, and he's 6'4" in the seventh. He was 281 pounds, 34-inch arms. Like, that's good. 4'7", 40 for that size is really good.
Right.
He had 14 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks. He's a converted tight end, played at Old Dominion, transferred to Georgia Tech, switched over to switched to defensive end and then transferred to Georgia Tech. But he's also 24 years old already. And Dane Brugler, who's really good at this, has him as number 47 on his big board. So the fact that he's in consideration for round one, enough to be a draft invite, it really surprised me. So I wanted to see if we were just way too low on him, or if maybe he's a guy that's surging at boards, or maybe just somebody that got a lucky invite. I'm not sure.
Right. And
there you go.
Yeah, and I want to clarify, the other thing that Bluff throw in is like multi-year guy. So I want to see him do it for multi-years, because he had a number of sacks this past year. I think somewhere around 6 or 7, if I remember correctly, because I put him kind of in the same mold as like a nice 3rd round option. So Brugler putting him at 47 or so, that means he's probably got him as a 2nd rounder maybe.
Right.
In this beast. I need to break that open. I got it, but got the description to the Athletic, but I haven't really cracked open the beast yet. So I don't want to be tainted. I don't want to be committed by anybody else. We got our little thing going, and so maybe they'll show us how dumb we are.
Right, no doubt, no doubt. And one more show left, and we'll be wrapping up the draft series and everything else, and then it's on to the draft. So super excited. Episode 11 next week, 25-1, and our final, put it in ink, put the pens down. Our final mock on this run here, and we appreciate everybody's been rocking with us throughout this whole series for the Mock Draft Fridays for sure. And let's get over here to. Can I? Oh, there it is. Boom, boom, boom. And of course, no trades. We'll save that and we'll discuss that for the final mock if we so want to do that. But stick and pick what we're going to do tonight and kind of go through it. Let's get it up on the board here. No messing with the sliders or anything else. Boom. And let's see how this pans out. I tell you what, we had a live mock draft Wednesday on the space on Twitter. It's really good, man. We rolled the dice, huh? We rolled the dice on some guys, Dom, and we ended up landing pretty dang well.
Yeah, we did. We killed that draft.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones we've done thus far.
Yep. There may be one pick that was maybe not realistic, but nice. But other than that, it was good.
Yeah. So here we go on the board right now. Bryce Young over to Carolina. CJ Stroud to the Texans. Will Anderson to the Cardinals, which is interesting stuff happening over there with, apparently Becker wants to be out. They're hearing maybe they want to trade out. There could be a situation where somebody could jump the Colts, right, to go get a quarterback here. But let's say they stick and pick Will Anderson.
Hey, and we earlier we said there really wasn't much news, really not a lot of Cowboys news.
Cowboys news, yeah.
One of the interesting things, it seems like the number one pick is likely going to be Bryce Young, based on some of the things trickling out in the media.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. Anthony Richardson to the Colts. Carter to the Seahawks. Wilson to the Lions. Will Levis to the Raiders. Van Ness, the guy who, very far down our board, goes 8 here to the Falcons. Oh, getting some help, some offensive line help there for our guy, Justin Fields and Peter Skoronski. Witherspoon to the Eagles. JSN to the Titans. Boy, Joey Porter Jr. going over there with that other young cat they drafted last year with the Texans.
Stingley, wow.
Yeah, you got to like that. Paris Johnson Jr. going to the Jets. Broderick Jones to the Patriots. Christian Gonzalez makes it all the way to 15. And goes over here to Green Bay. QJ, Quentin Johnson to the Washington Commanders. Darnell Wright, 17. Trying to force him down the board. They ain't having it. The Steelers say, no, give him to me. The Lions, Nolan Smith here. Safety, Brian Branch to the Bucks. Bijan going at 20 here to Seattle.
So Seattle got the number one defensive talent and the number one offensive non-quarterback talent.
Yeah, man. Zay Flowers to the Chargers. I can see that. Banks to Baltimore. Kalijah Kancey to Minnesota. Jordan Addison to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then Osiris Torrance to the Giants.
We got wiped.
There it is, guys. Dalton Kincaid, kiss the baby. There it is.
Oh, man.
I mean, I would still like to see who else is available.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm pretty sure the Cowboys would take Dalton Kincaid right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a wrap. If this happens here, how this is falling,
Miles Murphy's still there. He's a guy that they could sell as, we had him as a top 10 guy, and he fell quick.
Here's an interesting point, too. Currently, PFF has Dalton Kincaid ranked number 15 now. Average draft position 21.5, just to throw that out there. Double B from Clemson's on the board. Miles Murphy, Clemson Edge. Anton Harrison, Will McDonald, Mayer, Emmanuel Forbes, FAU, Mozzie, BJ, DeJuan Jones, Kinley, Cam Smith, Josh Downs. I mean,
I already know who I want.
This
is a no-brainer.
But I think there's two guys right now. Realistically, the Cowboys are looking at, based on what we heard, since Eddie brought that up. It's Dalton Kincaid and Will McDonald.
Yeah.
Those are the two guys.
Yeah. Who do you want, Dom?
Miles Murphy is a much better defensive end than Will McDonald. And I know that there's some out there that are watching that would say Anton Harrison. And what I thought was kind of interesting is he didn't make our list. Maybe he made the top 25. I don't know. But he wasn't in that range where I think it would make sense. So some people will be screaming him right now because they probably have him as their offensive tackle 5 or 6. And the offensive line seems like the flavor of the week where people want that the most.
I'm voting Dalton Kincaid.
Well, it's interesting that this is the first time that we did a mock draft and you got 10 trade offers.
Wow.
Yeah, there is
10 trade offers.
There is.
So,
and of course, and here's the thing: hidden hookers here. That could be a part of that. I'll look real quick just to see the 10 teams, though. That is interesting. Yeah. Philly wants to come up.
Not trading with them.
No, of course not.
It's funny because they actually have a really good relationship with trade. They've done it quite a lot.
All right, let's see who else. Philly, Kansas City, Cardinals, Panthers, Commanders, Bucks, Bears, Jags, Ravens, Niners all want to come up.
That's a pretty good list. There's a lot of teams there that have multiple picks in day 2, but
yeah.
No,
I'll pick next year's first if that's an option.
No, we're not trading.
They want to come up. I mean, we could practice that exercise right there too. I'm taking Kincaid.
Professor O.
Kincaid or McDonald, yeah.
See, Kincaid and McDonald are the two we know of, but I do agree with Dom. Like, if Murphy's there, he's the guy that they're not expecting to be on the board. So he's interesting. As much as I think DQ's pounding the table for McDonald in this situation, Kincaid's the guy we've heard about. It just feels like he would be the pick here. So I would say Kincaid.
Let's go Kincaid then.
Kincaid it is. And the crowd goes wild.
Exactly, Tom.
Now can you look up and then we'll run through from after our pick what happened. All right, so Kincaid, Murphy immediately to the Bills, Mayer to the Bengals, Brisset to the Saints, Emmanuel Forbes. Interesting. Eagles went corner and corner. Is that right? Yeah, they went Witherspoon and Forbes. Will McDonald goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. Cam Smith to the Steelers. Double A to the Texans. Dwan Jones to the Cardinals. Anton Harrison to the Colts. Cody Mock to the Rams. Mozzie Smith. Oh my God, Mozzie and Carter. Wow. Okay, Seattle. I see you. Oh, Drew Sanders is gone. To the Raiders. Josh Downs to the Panthers. Stays in North Carolina. Kelly Ringo to the Saints.
DJ Moore is an interesting. That's actually a pretty nice. I'm not saying he's DJ Moore, but
right.
I get it.
Bergeron to the Titans. Gibbs to the Jets. Jack Campbell to the Jets. FAU to the Falcons. Jalen Hyatt to the Packers. Mr. Hooker to the Patriots. Darnell Washington to Washington. Oh, Steve Avila. Gone to the Lions. Henley goes on his way to the Steelers. And boy, as we talked about the guys we had ranked, right? And we talked about the linebackers and where we had them in our top 50 board. I mean, you look, there's Campbell at 43. Where was Sanders at for the Raiders? He was a little bit higher, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So Sanders 38. Then Campbell there went, to the Jets, and then right there we have as I said, Simpson to the Bears. So these guys, and Henley right there at 49. So these guys all moving in that realm for them. JMS, interesting because they had Connor Williams last year, the Dolphins did, and he actually played really well at center for them. BJ Ojulari over here to the Seattle Seahawks just lining up that line. Simpson to the Bears, Tariq Stevenson to the Chargers, Joe Tippmann to the Lions, Julius Brents, and the guy we just talked about, ladies and gentlemen, Keon White to the Giants. So,
in real life, I feel bad for him if he's going mid to late round 2, but is at the draft. Like that's brutal. Luckily, they don't do the green screen where they're zoomed in on a guy the entire time, like every pick, like they did with Alex Smith, but sorry, not Alex Smith, with Aaron Rodgers. But yeah.
Okay. Well now where we what position you want to look at here? We want to. I'll go here. McKee, Thule, Laporta, which is out the board. Tank, Luke from Ohio State. Musgrave's out the tank. Garrett Williams, Herbig. It is. Siaka Ika is on the building. Antonio Johnson, safety from A&M. DJ Turner. Where we? Yeah. Let's see. Interior offensive lineman. Man, way too soon for Zavela, in my opinion. Luke's interesting from Ohio State. Whippler. Let's see. We'll look at tackle. Yeah, Wanya Morris, Blake Freeland, Tyler Steen.
Oh.
Let me go corner. Maybe.
I thought DJ Turner was available.
I'd like to be a wide receiver, a corner.
So you're looking at so you got Garrett Williams, Tomlinson from TCU, DJ Turner, Clark Phillips III, Jalen Jones.
What? Pick 58. Why does it feel like 300 players were drafted already?
I mean, we talked about edge there, in 26. Now Carter doesn't move me per se, but Isaiah Foskey's a guy, that they might be interested in. I got McGuire's here as well too, but I mean, you got Thule from USC. Nobody buy Thule?
No, not for our scheme.
Okay.
And I think he's ultimately going to be a 3-tech in the pros, and I don't think he starts over Osa. He's a rotational guy, so if I already took a tight end round 1, I definitely don't want my second round pick to be a rotational guy. Like whoever we take here, I need to be a starter or even if they don't immediately start, have a quick path to that.
Charbonnet, can I talk you into Charbonnet then? At running back.
The receiver.
So you got Charbonnet and A-Chain here, and then let's go look at receiver. And receiver, you're looking at Dale, Michael Wilson, Rasheed Rice, A.T. Perry, Cedric Tillman, Keyshawn Booty, Marvin Mims, Tyler Scott, Jaden Reed, Trey Palmer, Parker Washington.
I know who.
So to me, I'd say to me, I think it would be between Charbonnet and probably Tank Dell. Maybe Tillman.
I wouldn't go Tank Dell.
Yeah.
Stock down on Dell. I would take Tillman.
I like Tillman a lot.
But
Spody, what you looking at here? What do you want to take here?
I do like Tillman. The only thing is like we also have Tolbert. I know they're talking about you still get a receiver because of Brandon Cook's situation, but how much if you get a receiver in the second round, how much playing time do you think he's gonna fill in that crowded room?
You think Ika?
I'm with Siaka Ika or Charbonnet.
Okay.
I'm going Siaki Ika or Chandler Zavala. I'm going big here either way. Big body.
Okay. Dom, between those two, where would you want to land?
Zavala's a 4th, 5th round pick.
Yeah.
Ika is a 2nd, 3rd type. I would go Ika.
Okay. Let's get the big boy. Let's go get Ika. Let's make it happen. Boom. Ooh.
The one we found can't rap, though. That's the problem. He's not even good at that.
Toxic is funny, man.
I think.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. Can't wait. So we'll do best available first.
It's gonna be defensive end or receiver.
Tanner McKee, Tank Dell, Garrett Williams, Herbig, Tomlinson, Johnson, Zavala still on the board here. McGuire, Jimmy Robinson, Carl Brooks, A.T. Perry, McBride, Tank.
Maybe Tank Bigsby. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe look at the stack look at the stack here at the running backs. Keandre Miller, we know they like him a lot as well too. So you basically get your pick here. Like here's what you'd have to look at in the room here is with McBride, Bigsby, and Miller on the board picking at 90. If you move off of this before 129, I don't think there's going to be any of those three guys will be there at 129. Not saying that has to be the pick here. Just kind of the idea. Wide receiver wise, Tank Dell, Perry, Tyler Scott still here, Jaden Reed, Trey Palmer, Parker Washington. If you want to wait for another guy, you maybe could. What we thinking? Edge. We'll look at edge guys.
I like several of those names at wide receiver, but I'm also looking at who we currently have in our wide receiver room, and
Right.
there's not a lot of different types of players except for A.T. Perry. He would be the guy from like a size standpoint that would just be different than what we have, but I don't think I would take him here. Linebackers.
Is it linebacker time? Dorian Williams, Pace, Troy Brown down here a little ways, Henry, Montrell Miller.
I'm going receiver.
You want to go receiver over running back?
Oh yeah.
Who's the name that catches your eye, Dom?
Tyler Scott or Tank Dell.
Okay, Spoon. Tyler Scott or Tank Dell, which way you want to rock?
I'm going with Tank Dell.
Oh,
Just going tight end and then wide receiver. So 2 receivers in the first 90 picks. I would go to Tank Dell.
okay.
I like Parker Washington a lot, but I have Tank Dell higher on my board, so I'm sticking with that. I'd go Tank Dell.
But I can be moved.
Okay. Because see, to me, I'm like, here's the thing. As we're kind of going around here, we're looking at the board, right? There's to me, there's great value here in Garrett Williams. I know the medical stuff, but it's great value there. I do like Jalen Jones a lot. You know, you have Darius Rush out here, Riley Moss. There's some guys per se.
Yeah.
You know, linebacker now. If you depending on what you think about Dorian Williams, right? You know, we talk about him from a linebacker standpoint. Look, I love Pace. I've been big on Pace out the gate. I just don't. I find it hard to believe with his measurables that they're going to be interested in him.
Right.
You know. So now, are you okay waiting for a Henry or a Troy Brown, Ventrell Miller? Are we good in that realm? Is Dorian Williams a difference maker for y'all?
I don't like any of those.
I have a 3rd round grade on Dorian Williams, so
Yeah.
it would make sense here. But I also have a 3rd round grade on Darius Rush.
Got you.
So Rush and actually Williams, I have a 3rd round grade on too. So either one of those would be cool with me. I think Darius Rush is probably who I would go with here.
See, I think, boy, I got the stack at running back, and I know the Cowboys like these 3 guys.
They do. Well, 2 of them we know for sure. I don't
2
know
for
if they
sure. Yeah, I know about yeah, but Taking and Miller, they like for sure. And like I said, if you get out of this, now we're into the takers. Now, people like Roshan Johnson more than me. That's fair. You know, I'm not big. Now we're into the Zach Evans. You know, some of these guys down here. I think, you know, as we're kind of pivoting around looking at the board, you know, you got your tight end, you got a catcher, right? Okay, we took care of the one set. We got a big body there, you know, when it gets to Ika. It feels like to me right here is where they would go. But, you know, wherever y'all want to land is fine with me as well, too. But just, you know, with the stack of these 3 guys, I know they like 2 of them. To me, it feels like, you know, as we kind of pivot around the block a little bit, this is where they would land for me.
Can we really quickly just tank Bigsby or Miller? Because that way at least we have one running back versus the other position. Are you guys all on board with Bigsby
Or
over
Miller. Okay.
Miller, or is it Miller over Bigsby?
Yeah, who's your guy between these 2?
For me, I would take Miller because they had him in the building more than any other running back. So it's like they spent some more time with him than any other running back. So I would go with Miller.
Dom? We're not taking them. We're just going to stack them against somebody else. Who's between those 2, Miller or Tank? Who's your guy?
Oh man, it's funny because those 2 are the ones that are like neck and neck for me. But
Right.
I think I would go with Kendre Miller at the moment.
Okay. All right, so we're going to put Miller on one side, and we'll get the chat to help us out here as well. So put Miller on one side. Now, what's the other position we want to put up against it? You want to talk about?
I would do cornerback because we have Darius
corner.
Rush and Garrett Williams. I think either one would be a good pick, and I think Rush
Okay.
is a Cowboys type of player. Like he fits
Okay.
in DQ. There's no way in the world they take Travius Hodges.
Nah,
There's no
nah.
way. He's just too far outside of what DQ drafts.
Yeah, I think Jalen Jones has an opportunity for the Cowboys.
Trice,
I would-
he's the name, right?
Yeah, Trice is a guy that's kind of flown up the boards as well. And again, length guy, 6'3", right? Let's put it against Garrett Williams and Rush. Who would be the guy you would take?
I think.
Or out of any of these guys from Rush up, is there a particular guy that you want to land on?
I'm about to say Garrett Williams is the better corner.
Mm. Okay, Garrett, for you, Dom, Professor O.
I have Rush slightly above Garrett Williams, so I would take Rush.
All right, Spoony, Rush, Williams.
I'm going with Rush on this one. Darius Rush.
I'm not taking Eli Ricks.
Character.
Hate y'all.
See, the hurt guy is Garrett Williams. That's why he's at this spot.
That's why he's there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm outvoted. It's fine. That's what happens. Rush. So that's where we're at, right? So Rush at cornerback versus Miller, the running back from TCU. All right. Let's see where they want to go here in the chat. Where y'all want to do it? Yeah, Rush at corner or Miller running back here at 90. Where do y'all want to land, chat? And as the chat gets their votes in here, as we got down to these with this tech with these two guys, Spoony, Rush or Miller, where would you want to go?
Rush.
You want to go Rush? Okay. Professor O, where you want to go?
See, I would go Rush because the difference in running backs later on and cornerbacks later on is massive. Mm-hmm. There's still a lot of running backs, so I would take my chances, and I'm taking Rush.
Okay. I'd go Miller personally here. Dom, where would you go?
I'm going with the premium position and one that we could easily need by 2024. So get Rush in, get him acclimated, where he might be stepping into the cornerback 2 role in 2 years, but maybe be a significant contributor immediately or at some point in his rookie season.
The chat gave us 3 Millers, 3 Rushes. So
it's tough.
Well,
it's tough. It's tough. You know, and Rowan Alcine said you can get Trice at 129. There's no guarantee of that. Right?
Yeah, we got to stop thinking of mock draft.
Yeah, there's no
we know maybe in mock draft world he'll be there, but in real life we don't. So we're just
we have to look at this stack right here and what they're interested in and what's going on. There's just no guarantee that we can play the mock draft game and man, I can skip out on Trice and everything else and do whatever and wait and we had that happen to us on the Wednesday draft and looked up on that, right? So
thank you, TC.
Well, if the chat split 3 and 3,
right after we got a split to Rush, our guy shout out to DMV came in and said Miller.
Okay. Well, it's even in the chat, and I got outvoted because y'all said Rush, so we got to go with the panel. The chat got split. I was the only one with Miller. Y'all voted Rush. I acquiesce. Darius Rush it is then.
Cool.
Boom. And I love that part about it because these conversations happen. You know what I mean? And how it goes, and you're in there and you're talking to whatever. And look, trust me, I would love, I would love to go get Miller because I think they're interested in him. But Rush makes a lot of sense here, because you're just one. We talked about it tremendously. The outside corners, you lose one guy, you're back to Kelvin Joseph as being your next guy up. Right. You have to get some insulation there with how this team is right now, and that just it just makes a lot of sense, and where it's at. Now again. That's what's great about it is we're into this draft, and as you said a little bit earlier, Matt, we got out of the first round to the survey. It's like it feels like 300 players have done went. It's been very interesting this mock draft. Let's see here. So here we go. We're at 129, best available. Anthony Johnson, Iowa State. Zavala here from North Carolina State guard. McBride still on the board. Wow.
Dorian Williams,
of course. There's Trice.
Good at tight end.
Yeah.
Sean Tucker's there. So running back, and there's a couple linebackers and running backs.
Yeah, and Tyler Scott's here as well, too.
Yeah, Tyler Scott.
So, look at edge real quick. We got Wooden out of Auburn. Fioco out of San Jose State. I do want to just kind of peek at defensive tackle for a second for a 3. Just look at Coburn, Ojan alone. My guy. Okay, Clark. Okay, cool. Is it O-line time here, or now you're getting to the mafias of the world here up to Zavala on the running back side of things. And of course, like we said, so there you go. Miller and Tank both are out of the building. Sean Tucker should be talked about more. I don't know if he's on the Cowboys' radar or not, but I like him in the later rounds as well too from Syracuse. McBride is there, obviously. Sean Tucker, Deuce Vaughn, Gray, Kenny McIntosh. The Cowboys have talked with him as well. Evan Hall, and I got that we talked about beforehand, and I kind of mocked him a couple of times. And Chris Rodriguez Jr. That's a name that Kyle Williams brought up last night as well too.
Yeah.
I bet I got that like.
He was a guy that I spotlighted. I don't know, December.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought he would be there around in the 6th round or so, but he's a north-south runner, one-cut guy, ran hard for that Kentucky team. So I like what he brings to me. He's one of those battering ram type guys that you can use in short yardage, and he may be even start or play some special teams for you.
For me, it would either be
Tyler Scott. It's easy.
I don't know, man. McBride here on the board. I can't just say that with McBride staring at me now.
Tyler Scott is
I love Tyler Scott, though.
Back end second rounder.
Mm-hmm.
He just got gifted by the gods.
You don't like, because you don't like Dorian Williams being here as well. So, where it's at. Spoony, where would you be at here?
I think goal line. The guard was it Mafia.
Oh, you want to go Mafia here?
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, where you want to go, man?
I mean, there's pretty decent players on the board right now. I'm kind of leaning towards Trey McBride or Dorian Williams. I think McBride. Sorry, not McBride. I'm going with Tyler Scott. That's the name that I'm leaning towards right now. I love Dwayne McBride, but I don't think the Cowboys are into him like I am, so I'm just gonna pretend that he doesn't exist and go with Tyler Scott, who I know that they have some interest in.
Okay, all right. So we going. And as you get down here, man, I like Charlie Jones's game. We said a little bit. I mean, it is clear cut here. If you're going wide receiver, Tyler Scott would be the guy. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. To give you something in this realm. So, all right, let's pull the trigger. Let's do it. Let's do Tyler Scott then. I'm not gonna get McBride now. Nope. No sirree, Bob.
What about Kenny McIntosh? I think he's gone. Chris Rodriguez, maybe. Mafia's there.
You probably you gotta start really thinking about Mafia here at 169 for sure. Let me look at the tackles here as well, just to kind of. You got Jordan McFadden, Asim Richards.
All right, Asim Richards is one that if people still haven't seen him, go check him out. I think this is the perfect time to get him, but he'd be a nice little developmental tackle. I think he's better than the backups that we have currently.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Ball can go.
Facts. So Keaton Mitchell, Evan Hall, Chris Rodriguez. My guy Hunter Lipke. It's kind of where we're at. I mean, Mafi. What about don't need to look at linebacker at all? It's got to pull. It's now we're at that moment where we got to pull the trigger.
Mafi.
Okay.
This is gonna turn out to be one of the post drafts where I think Dallas will potentially trade like a next year's pick for something that they need, as far as like a linebacker, or maybe swap back end of the roster type players just to find a linebacker. Because if they don't get one early, first 2 rounds, then it doesn't seem like linebacker's gonna fall to them. It's gonna be tough.
Indeed.
I agree with it, but here we are.
What did Rohit say?
He said this is why you don't take Kincaid.
Well, I mean, look, you could have not took Kincaid. I mean, you still have been in the same situation, right? So, look, we could have exited and took insert a wide receiver, right? Let's say you took Josh Downs. I mean, so basically, at some point, you swap out the wide receiver for tight end later. But I mean, as far as when you got to the second round, I mean, this is where you were at, So
PFF updated too. So
yeah, they updated. Yeah, it's
like
it's
guys
a
that
update.
We're all loving are just being pushed up.
Right, and like even from Wednesday, like this this is a different grade on these guys from what we did Wednesday. But running back wise, Evan Hall, Hunter Lipke, Muhammad.
I love Muhammad Ibrahim, but
I like people.
He's gonna probably be one of those 7th round undrafted guys because of the mileage and also the the Achilles injury, but he bounced back strong this past season and had, I think, the most broken tackles or yards after contact of any player in the NCAA. So,
would it be quarterback here for the Cowboys, Tune or maybe Aiden O'Connell?
I still don't think getting a quarterback this draft makes sense.
Especially after re-signing Rush. I think the name that's popping out right now, who I don't think he'll still be there in real life, but is the safety from Sacramento State, Marty Mapu. That's who I would take right now. I just think he's the best player.
Here's the thing. I think the Cowboys are ultimately going to draft a guy. I think it's dumb as well too. I wouldn't do it, but it just really feels like some of the work they've done, meeting with O'Connell and stuff like that soon. It seems like they're pretty bent on getting a guy in here and develop. Be my take. I think
here in if we go QB, I would take Tune here.
Yeah. Mapu's a guy, right? He's kind of come up the boards for sure. But wherever y'all want to land, I would go Tune personally. This is where I'd be at. If y'all want to go Marty Mapu, that's fine with me as well.
Let's go QB. I'll switch my pick. We'll go with Tune.
Got to talk about Lipke.
All right, QB.
All right. Let's go ahead and then take Tune right down to 45, and the last pick of the draft. The last pick, linebacker Troy Brown, edge Lonnie Phelps, Jonah, all the sex in the world from San Diego State.
Jonah's moved up on their ranking quite a bit. His ADP is still low, and this anytime they have a reset on their draft board, this is a good indication. If you can see, he was in the 200 ranges, and now he's moved up quite a bit. What about kicker now? You guys look.
We got to reset the kicker. Special teams matter. Special teams matter.
The Deacon is reminding you guys.
Moody time.
I feel like we always take the same kicker. Let's switch.
You want to go with Andre Smith?
Yeah, let's take the Syracuse guy. You guys pick. I don't know. You guys do what you want.
But no, it matters. Let's take a look. I mean, let's see, 6'1", 200. He's got a little size to him.
Yeah.
I mean, which kicker you want to take here, Dom?
It'd be Jake Moody, baby.
Okay, Jake Moody.
Please get one pick. Let's take Moody.
Moody. Boom. I can't wait to see the grade on this.
They're gonna hate us.
A- for Dalton Kincaid, B for Ika, C for Rush, B- for Scott, D+ for Mafi, A+ for Tune, and C+ for Moody. They give this one a solid B. Solid B is what we get there. Here's the thing.
I hate this draft.
And here's the thing about it. You hate it, and it's the exact reason this is probably the most realistic Cowboys draft we've seen so far on this through 10 episodes.
So it's pretty early in the night. Can we run back and do another draft real quick and just go quick this time?
Okay. Sure,
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Okay. Wait, y'all really didn't like it. Y'all said
I'm with it.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, you might hate it, but the coach but you're gonna learn to love it.
Or thought about it, but Professor just said it. Yeah.
Because here's the thing. In most of these simulations and projections, I feel like, I can get a running back at 129 all day. I can get a receiver, defensive lineman, or a cornerback at 90. I can get a linebacker at 58. I need to get my O-line before 58. So tight end just don't figure in, man.
Well, it's the Cowboy way. Boom. Here we go. My guy Kalijah Kancey's here. Heyo.
I already like this draft more than last time.
Hey, look. I'm going to go do the first round and I'll go quick.
I haven't even seen the other players on the board. I already like it better.
Look. Young, Richardson goes to the Texans. Anderson, Cardinals. Levis there to the Colts. Wilson, Carter makes it all the way to 6. It's not 16, so you still owe me. Okay,
hey,
there, Spoony. CJ Stroud, Soronsky, Weatherspoon, JSN to the Eagles. Broderick Jones, Christian Gonzalez, Paris, And that's a damn Patriots pick. Joey Porter Jr., Darnell Wright, Quentin Johnston, Kincaid, the Lions save us, apparently. Brian Branch, Jordan Addison to Seattle, Noah Smith over here to the Chargers, Zay Flowers to Baltimore, Bijan to 23. Now, maybe that's somewhere, maybe the Cowboys, I don't know. But Bijan 23 to the Vikings, Osiris, and then Brian Brisset. Wow. So, Cowboys, Kalijah Kancey, Deontay Banks, Miles Murphy, Anton Johnson, Will McDonald, Michael Mayer, Emmanuel Forbes, FAU, Mozzie. I mean,
you guys know who you want already?
Yep.
Who do you want? Who do you want?
Kalijah Kancey.
Let's go. I mean, say less to me. It's easy for me to take this time. I'm on Kalijah. Anybody else? Smody?
Rowie gave us the reverse psychology. We're going to take Kancey.
No, yeah, we're taking it. I mean, I've said it. And of course, Kyle did shoot me down a little bit on this last night. Since last Wednesday, I was kind of like, I feel like if Kalijah Kancey's on the board, that's going to be the pick. It's kind of a gut feeling how I felt. So this warms my heart. If nothing else had happened here. All right, let's take Tanner McKee, Stafford, quarterback. Let's go. Joking. Thule, now Sam Laporta can come into play. Tank Dell, Brent. No, you don't need Bennett no more. I'm going to guess, or, okay, that's, yeah, so, interior line's gone.
Tackle.
I'm trying to get there.
Bergeron gone.
If it'll work for me. Yep.
Dang it.
Yep. Couldn't do it. JMS would have been almost there to us. He went at 56.
So, one guy that I know I'm going to have to move up is Tyler Steen, the tackle out of Alabama, because I just think he's got the versatility to be able to move into the guard spot. So, talking about a 6'5" guy, 320 some odd pounds. He moves well, anchors well, guys the power, has the experience playing. I love him. I'd rather have him in the third, but this offensive line class, these guys might get pushed up.
Yep, and linebackers already up out of there. Back down to Dory Williams or Overshawn.
Are you guys noticing with the new mock draft rankings that they have? 58, which was a fun pick before, is not nearly as fun anymore. A lot of guys are going like 10 to 15 picks before.
Yeah.
It's just not as the names we're used to seeing are not there.
Hey, my guy Sam Laporta's here, so I'm cool. I'm cool. You got Tucker Craft. Now we can get busy, with some Sam Laporta action. As far as I'm concerned. I'm sure
wide receivers are available. I know Tank Dell's there, but who else?
Yeah, I'm going to go take a look right now. If Tank's number one, then it's going to be the Wilsons of the world. Yeah, Rice, Perry, Tillman, Booty, Mims, Scott. So, yeah, about what it was last time.
Charbonnet this time. I feel like we haven't ever taken him at 58. At least I remember it, and we know that they like him. So,
go ahead, Dom.
I was going to ask Matt O, hey, who's your top receiver out of the group that's still remaining?
So, with what's available still, I have Tank Dell, Rice, and Wilson's in round 4 for me. So,
got it.
Tillman's available. So, with what's available, I have Dell, Rice, and Tillman. In order, Dell, I have a second round grade, and Rice and Tillman are both 2-3s.
2-3.
What about Mims?
Mims, I also have a 2-3.
Okay, because the Cowboys do like Mims. But we'll see. I
would personally. I don't know if the Cowboys would, but I would.
The Porter or Charbonnet is fine with me here. Either or.
What's up, Al?
What you want to do?
I'm going receiver.
Okay.
Chat saying Tillman. Mendoza always goes the opposite route. He'd pick Rice. But so far we have 2 on Tillman.
I love Tillman.
Let's do it.
Tillman, let's do it.
Let's pull the trigger.
I already like the mock draft better.
Oh, nope. Didn't mean to go wide receiver. Hold on. Just want to kind of see. So now you got those guys right there. You got the little stack like last time at 90. I'm going to see. I know my guy's not going to be there. Oh, Laporta's gone. I knew he would be.
What about Bennett, cornerback?
I'm going to go look. He's on down. There's some other guys ahead who depend on how you feel about them.
I think we all probably have been as a third rounder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I have Garrett Williams higher. I know the medicals. I know, but
I do too. But also, did Dallas bring him in, or was there a report? Because it'd be kind of surprising to me with him being, I think, 5'10" or so, and coming off the ACL. Okay. So maybe they're truly interested. Because I think he's got some sweet feet, man. I like the way that he mirrors, and if he wasn't injured, he probably would be a top 10 cornerback.
I'm good with taking Garrett here. That's me personally.
Let's take Williams. Let's go with Garrett Williams.
Yep.
We'll switch it up.
129.
Zavala.
Is it Zavala time?
We get a starting left guard.
Over Dorian Williams. Goes Zavala here.
I just don't like Dorian Williams.
Like
in the back
good.
channels, y'all gotta study me up because I've watched and I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm. I got you. Parker Washington's on the board still. Dadgummit.
What about Keandre Coburn? Anybody biting on him right now?
He's a 6-rounder to me.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, you got something there we can't see for what it's worth. Yep, let's take Zavella. Let's go.
But he's a one tech though, so you're getting.
He is. That's true. No, he is. He is. No, I know. I'm just saying. Luke Shoemaker time.
Running back time.
Running back, yeah.
We took 7 already, right?
No,
we didn't. We
didn't take a running back.
Let's check out running back.
All right. So Mitchell, Hull, Rodriguez.
Running back is wiped so early now.
Yeah. Hunter.
All right, I'm good at running back.
Okay.
I actually like Keaton Mitchell, but he just would be redundant with what we already have.
No, yeah. I like Ronnie Hickman probably more than some.
They met with Hickman at the combine too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, you go Hickman, Shoemaker, any of the edges. David Salatamuji, Mopu's here as well. Yajir Abdullah from the edge from Louisville.
I do think Davis Allen's a pretty good tight end. I'd be maybe.
Have y'all got a chance to check out Daniel Scott, safety out of Cal?
I have him in round 5, so right here.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
he's a little bit of a playmaker.
Mm-hmm. He's got good size too.
Mm-hmm.
What you think about a Jared Clark here?
I would. I don't know if they would, but I would.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think
See, one tech's one of those things too. Like if I'm not getting a guy early, even though we've liked Gerard Clark the entire process, now that you have Hankins back, he would have to beat out Quinn Bohanna, or you're not.
Yeah.
He's a practice.
Y'all know my thoughts on D tackle. I know we want one, especially the nose tackle types. They just don't produce for you in years 1 and 2. So
it's true.
You're going to making an investment, hoping that you get the return probably in 2025. So I'm not against that because at some point you got to do it. So yeah, Jared Clark makes all the world of sense. But to me, the better value on the board is 2 of the safeties here, Ronnie Hickman being the top one, and then also the tight end out of Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing too about that as well is Watkins being out of here and what he brings and whatnot. But you said quarterbacks?
Yeah, what quarterback? Because we taken round 6. What about DTR, Jack Hayner? Because they weren't available last time. Would you guys jump on either one of those?
DTR is my quarterback 7, so he'd make sense here.
I just don't think he's going to be on their radar.
I don't think Dallas would want him.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. So Shoemaker or Hickman, which way you want to roll?
I feel like they would love Luke here. Hickman, I probably would go with Hickman, but Luke he's always felt like a Cowboys tight end. he's exactly the type of guy that they like.
All right.
That's who I think we should take.
Okay. Spoony?
Luke
it is.
I will say, I think, go ahead and you make a pick, but I think people are still discounting McEwen as just a guy that at least depth chart that he's been around, and this will be the year where he can actually show how much have you truly developed, because they're going to utilize him for sure.
So, Nix, You
Running back time.
mentioned missing Carlos Watkins, and there's a defensive tackle that I love that does that and can play every spot on the defensive line. So I think Jonah Tavai right here at 212 is an incredible value. I would jump all over him right now.
Can I roll the dice and see if I get him next round? Because I know I can get him next round. I'm joking, but nah, Jonah Tavai makes a ton of sense here for sure. Running back, you can just take whatever's left. Again, I would love to get Hunter Lipke here, but I'm with you though. From a Watkins replacement standpoint, you're absolutely correct when it comes to Jonah. Anybody else? You thinking about a quarterback here? Anybody?
Yeah.
The way this is
corner's definitely be able to look at corner.
I think the way this has gone, I finally went and watched Lonnie Phelps.
Yeah.
He's the guy that I would pick here.
Little edge action. I like
it.
Yeah. Right there. Boom. Let's pull the trigger. On Lonnie. We haven't done it yet. Let's pull the trigger on him. And pray to the gods here for Hunter Lipke, who won't be there. Oh, but he is! Oh, let's go! All right. Yes. All right. Short yardage guy and run some wheel routes for us. And we love wheel routes. Boom.
You know somebody that I keep forgetting that we got this offseason?
Who's that?
Running back.
Ronald Jones.
USC kid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I keep forgetting.
So A+ for Kancey. Big shock they were going to give us a low grade for Cedric Tillman, but hey, if you get Cedric Tillman 58, I'm not mad at it. Garrett with the A-, Zavala with the A+, Shoemaker with the A+, Phelps with the B-, and
this is way better than the last draft.
with a C+. Hey, but we didn't take a tight end in the first round. But
Hey.
the board felt different though too.
Hey, let's do one more. And wait,
Okay.
it's
Super
all
fast.
Spoonies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No phone and friends either, just all Spoony.
All
I
right,
do want to
Spoon.
say real quick too, because we talk about Hunter Lipke a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I assumed since all Cowboys Nation have been mocking him, like he just became the consensus Cowboys round 6 or 7 guy. So Nix, you like him a lot.
Mm.
For those that haven't seen him, I think when you see fullback North Dakota State, you're envisioning like your traditional 245-pound guy that's just going to light up linebackers. He's not that guy. He's much more like a big running back than a bulldoze through and open up holes guy. Not that he can't block, but think more Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah, Juice Jr.
What
is what I
you're
call him.
picturing.
Yeah, Juice Jr. is what I call him. Absolutely. And, again, Juice is fitting here because he has, like, running the ball, he has some juice. Not just a little bit of power to him, but he has some juice. And he gives you, like I said before, early in the process, I could draft him and have him at tight end 3 and feel okay about it. Because what I need from a tight end 3, right? With the other two guys and what I like. And then when you're talking about that short yardage situation and things of that ilk, you can use him in those rounds to replace that as well, too. And going back to the West Coast offense and how we've seen Mike McCarthy beforehand, we don't know what it's going to look like this time. He's always had a fullback around to do some of that dirty work, and he can do those things. He's more athletic than what you might think by what you just see, what his stats are, what he looks like or whatever. But you get there, breaks tackles. Man, I was watching this tape actually the other day. He's not this, and I don't want to use this comp. I don't like using comps, but at times running from a smaller school, but he's like a little baby A-Train. Remember Mike Allstott?
Allstott, yeah.
Yeah. He's like little baby Mike Allstott.
So what's funny is against Arizona, so Power 5 school, he had, I think it was like 18 carries, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, caught 3 passes for 60-something yards and a touchdown. Like, against a big school. He's not like a guy that, gets 5 carries a game. Like, they used him as their running back, but they also split him out in the slot. He also played tight end. He played fullback. I think he was used all over the place. So if you're creative and you want a guy that you can say, hey, I'm going to play this guy 15 snaps and attack a defense from multiple ways or give different looks, like he would be a great value at that pick. So I just want to talk about him because we talk about him. We pick him all the time and we don't really talk about him that often. So I wanted to highlight him really quick.
I mean, he's just a great utility player. And whatever you need, he can kind of go in and fit. You need to hit the ball too. Look, I mean, you go watch. He's taking pitches. We're not even talking about like, oh well, he's lining up from the traditional fullback spot, getting the handoff and diving forward. No. He's taking pitches and going to the outside in the size and things that he does and whatnot. And then he'll line up a traditional tight end at the end of the line and come across the formation, post snap and run and run routes and go catch the ball. So just super high on him, in what he can bring to the table. And again, utility guy, he can do so much for you. That true to life H-back kind of ordeal, if you will. But Spoonie, your draft here, Spoonie.
Hold on. Oh. We got to put some parameters on this for Spoon. He gonna trade back. You already know. So here's the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Just a 2-round mock.
He's going 7 fast. He's going to give 7 fast. He'll give 7 fast.
All right. Well, then in that top 2, we need some instant contributors.
I got you.
Make it happen.
I got you guys.
Okay.
I want to let you guys down.
Let's go.
No, don't worry about us. This is a Spoonie draft. Don't make Matt and Dom happy. You get whatever you want.
No sense of it. You get your
All right.
All right. The best available here.
That boy going good.
Deontay Banks, Brian Brisset, Anton Harrison, Will McDonald, Michael Mayer, Jordan Addison, Emmanuel Forbes, FAU, Mozzie Smith.
Ooh. All right. Give me Jordan Addison.
Jordan Addison. Boom. Done deal. All right.
Now I can make trades, right?
Eddie's cooking, by the way. Hunter Lipke to Toby Gerhardt is that's a great, great call.
All right, let me see. It's the overall, right?
Yeah. Overall here, McKee, Tui, Edge USC. You got a wide receiver, so you'll need Tank Dell.
Right.
Luke Lippler from Ohio State. Wappler, Luke Musgrave, tight end. Julius Brent's corner. Joe Tittman, center guard, 6'6".
Give me Joe Tittman. He can play. Give me Joe Tittman.
Boy, cooking already.
Cooking, yeah, he's cooking. Yeah, boy, cooking. All right. Then let's see. So,
look at corner for me.
Yeah, it's your corner. Going quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Corner. You have whatever you want, man. You're cooking. Just
go ahead.
Say the words.
Boom. Corner it is. Garrett Williams, Tomlinson, Jalen Jones, Trice, Darius Rush, Riley Moss, Eli Riggs.
Give me Rush.
Give you who?
Rush.
You don't look at any other positions? You're just going Rush.
Go more Rush.
Wow. Okay.
Look how decisive Spoonie is.
Okay, let's go. All right. Is it all right? All right. So we got wide receiver, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got interior offensive lineman. We got a corner. Where are we going? What position?
What's up, Coles?
Go to give me running back. Let me see what
running
back. Yeah.
You got McBride. You got Miller. Wow. At 129, you got Brad Miller, Tucker, Vaughn, Johnson.
No, I can't make no trades, right?
No, you got to stick and pick.
I got to stick to it. Okay. Let me go see defensive tackle.
Okay. Coburn, Martin, Tavi, Clark, Slade.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna go to running back.
Yep.
Give me
Miller.
Yeah, Kendrick Miller. Yeah.
That's who you're going with because you talked about him earlier. Boom.
Yeah.
Miller. All right.
Okay, now go to defensive line.
Defensive line. All right. Edge or D line?
I look at edge. Let me look at edge.
You look at edge. Okay. I didn't know which one you wanted there because it won't give me both unless I click them both.
I think the board falls so much better for Spoonie than it does.
So yeah, edge.
I can get stuff later. I can get
cool. Okay, we'll go over here to interior.
Let me go to tight end.
Well, here's interior. Martin, Tommy, Clark, Slade. You'll go to tight end. All right.
Yeah.
Tight end. Shoemaker, Allen, Wiley, Durham, Mallory.
Let me get Shoemaker.
Well,
they met with Cameron too.
And then let me know if Clark is there.
Jared Clark.
Vi's there too.
You talk about Jared Clark? You said
yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to look. Twice, Slate. No, Clark's gone.
All right, so let me go to Vi then. Vi's right there.
Okay. And last but not least, last pick of the draft. What you want? Clayton Toots still on the board. Troy Brown linebacker. Michael Jones Syracuse linebacker. I mean, if you want to.
Anthony Bradford is the guy. Real quick, while he's there, Dom, have you checked him out yet? What do you think of Anthony Bradford? Guard LSU.
Oh yeah. Okay. He was a guy.
But I feel like people are higher on him than PFF.
Yeah, I'm not. He was a highly touted guy. I just don't see the retracing ability. He's a big guy. You'd think he would have a lot of power, just on the ground too much for me. He's one of those undrafted types that you bring in and maybe he shave a bit of pounds, get a little bit more quickness. I just wasn't high on him at all. I was shocked that he actually declared for the draft. He declared
Gotcha.
early.
All right, so we got Richards, Reed, Witt over here at tackle. What position you want to look at?
Let me go look at edge.
Edge. All right. Edge. Mathis from Nebraska, and Kuhn from Central Michigan, Iowa State. Yeah, get in the weeds a little bit.
How about linebacker?
Linebacker.
Darrell Chami from Maryland, defensive end. He's a traits guy. He just had a number of injuries.
So you got Troy Brown from Mississippi. Good value there. Jones from Syracuse, Thomas, Georgia Tech, Aubrey Miller from Jackson State as well.
Let me get I'll take Aubrey Miller.
Aubrey Miller, boom. Well, wow. So Jordan has to get you a B minus. Tip is going to get you the B. Rush gets you the C. Miller gets you the A plus. Shoemaker gets you the A plus. Tommy gets you the A plus. Miller gets you a B plus. A minus for the quick draft from Spoon.
Wow. I like that better than our other two drafts.
Getting Tippman
Well,
there
you got my
at
vote.
58
If
helps.
I ever have a war
tremendously.
room hiring you. Good job.
Yeah, big facts.
All right.
Big
That boy
facts.
got Tippman, who would start. Addison,
Yeah.
significant
Yeah.
contributor.
Miller's going to start.
Miller's gonna-
in that
Or at least
backfield,
yeah,
right?
contributor, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And Luke's probably your tight end too.
Right.
And that's your 5th round pick.
Yeah, and look, and Tavi down there is going to get some rotation on the D line for sure, right? And then you got a guy that can down at the bottom here, and then Miller, depth piece and immediate contributor to the special teams as well.
I was shocked that Jordan Addison was there for us at the first round. We never did a mock that he was available before, so I like that
Yeah.
on that one. Yeah.
How the board falls. So, the one before that, right, obviously, Kalijah Cansey fell there, but see, we didn't get the luck, in the second round with the right offensive lineman coming to us. And I think, that was kind of the big thing for you here as well. Hitting on Addison. And look, because if you go back to our Dalton Kincaid draft, if we get a Tippman or somebody like that, of that ilk for an offensive lineman there at 58, we're going to feel much better about that draft. And I think maybe through this exercise with these three that we've done is, if offensive line is big for them early, then my people we've ultimately talked about throughout the process of, if you don't take it at 26, you might have to be willing to come up from 58 to handle that business. Possibly.
Yeah. Like DeMarcus, whenever they traded up all the way to 34, I think it was. So you're packaging second and third. They probably get us from 58 to about 44, where Atlanta is picking. So that's one of those things where maybe they stick and pick at 26, or maybe move back a little bit, get an extra capital, but yet move forward. It'll be interesting, man.
I have a serious question. Are you ready for it? No, I'm not doing a space. Leave me alone. I know that's what you're going to ask, Eddie. Man, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in here for the big board reveal from 50 up to 26. Next Friday, we're back in the building, 25 through 1, and our final pencils down moment for our mock draft. So appreciate everybody for rocking with us as always. As it's free 99 to share this content, tell a friend and give them a sub over here and whatnot. So I appreciate you for rocking with us tonight as well. Y'all have a great weekend.